I'm Mike Tuckner, intuitive life coach and host of the Recalibrated Mind podcast. Today's episode is how to make decisions, not excuses. I'm recording today's episode in late January, about a week after Quit Day, which is the day where people give up on their New Year's resolutions. Why is change so hard? What facilitates change? How can you absolutely, positively change your life for the better by making fast, sound decisions? And people have excuses for everything, right? Some common excuses we all used, and these are easy to recognize because we've all done it. Let's say you're looking for a big ticket item. I can't afford it right now. Well, you can't pay cash for a house. Does that mean you should not buy one? I'll wait for a better deal. I don't really need it. If you don't need the big ticket item, then why are you shopping for it? Right? Or are you wasting your time and the salesperson's time by doing that? What if I regret it later? I need to think about it more. What else could you possibly think about when it comes to buying cabinets? Either you need cabinets or you don't need cabinets. There's really not a whole lot to think about. Maybe you just shouldn't shop until you're ready to buy, right? And exercising. I don't have time. Really? Does your phone give you an update every Sunday morning like mine does that tells me how much time I was on it the previous week? And fun fact, you can actually scroll through TikTok while you're on a treadmill. Just thought I'd throw that out there. I'm too tired. I don't know where to start. I'll start tomorrow. It's too expensive to join a gym. Well, I actually looked this up, and you can get started at Planet Fitness for about as much as a quarter pounder with cheese meal. And how many of those have you bought, in the last month, right? It's too hard to change. I've always been this way. And you always will if you don't make a decision to change. I'll do it later. No, you won't. You won't do it later. I'm not hurting anyone. Really? It's probably hurting you. I don't have the willpower. Now, that one I might agree with. So, what's really at the basis of all of this is self-doubt. There are some ways that you can overcome that. Self-doubt often stems from a fear of failure or past experiences. There's a book called Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. And one of the things that the author talked about in the book was that if he goes to a bunch of kindergartners and tells them to draw a picture of a house, the kids are like, got it, no problem. They're going to be able to take out the crayons, draw this house, and with a big smile on their face and absolutely no doubt in their soul that they know how to draw a house. If you ask a 40-year-old to draw a house, they're going to hedge and hem and haw and be like, oh, no, maybe not, because they have been conditioned to think, I am not an artist. I cannot do this. And there are countless areas of your life where you're conditioned that you can't do something. Self-doubt can lead to a paralysis in decision making, which can also lead to missed opportunities that could be very good for your life. Overcoming self-doubt involves recognizing your strengths and your achievements, not the conditioning that you've received throughout your life. Using positive affirmations and surrounding yourself with supportive people can help. And deep down, if you think you can't do something, you won't. If you think you can, you will. So you really need to emphasize the importance of taking small steps to build your confidence. If you have to, the saying goes, if you have to eat an elephant, how do you do it? One bite at a time, right? Same thing with working out. If you have a ton of weight to lose, you just can't say in 2 weeks, I want to weigh your goal weight. You have got to take those small steps. It can be as simple as just getting on a treadmill and pressing start. You have to start and you have to make decisions to get you to that point. The truth is that you will never change until the pain of staying where you are is greater than the pain of the needed change. It all starts with that decision to do so. Just let that sink in for a little bit. You will never change until the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of the change. Think about it. Is being overweight a mild inconvenience, or is it impacting your health, your ability to play with your kids, or having the confidence to pursue a new career? Does the fear of not having enough money paralyze you and stop you from looking for a better paying job that would bring you more joy? Do you desperately want a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but you never leave the house? Right. And when you hear those things out loud, you can just kind of be like, yeah, I do that. Right. And you can go to Wayne Gretzky, who had the great quote that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. And when will the pain of not changing spur you in the confidence to make that change happen? I'm an intuitive life coach, right? So what I lean on all the time is my intuition, and I train others on how to tap into your intuition. Using your intuition is accessing your subconscious mind to process information quickly. And this is pretty wild, but did you know that your subconscious mind remembers every face that you have ever seen in a crowd? It remembers every line of every movie you've ever seen, every line of every song you've ever heard. It remembers everything. But we have that hidden so deep into our heads that it's tough to access sometime. And when you combine intuition with the tool of logical reasoning, it can be extremely powerful. And the great news is, I have this ability. You have this ability. We all have this ability. Intuition is often referred to as a gut feeling. I call it a knowing. It's a knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt. It isn't a maybe I should feeling. It's something that tells you yes, 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 no, 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 not yet. And it's in there, and it always has your best interest at heart. Your intuition is never judgmental. It only wants your highest good. Therefore, it's the perfect place to go when it's time to determine if a decision is right for you in your life. But where'd all the negative thoughts come from? Negative thoughts come from what's called your ego. Have you ever met somebody and you thought, oh, I can't stand that person? They're so egotistical, right? Well, yep, the same ego that is on grand display by others also lives in your head, telling you that you aren't worthy, you don't deserve good things, and you'll never be able to achieve your ideal weight or a 6 or even 7 figure income. The ego is convincing. It's been trained by your parents, classmates, and society to set limitations that keep you in your safe little bubble that in no way, shape, or form has your best interests at heart. And the other thing that is just mind boggling about the ego is the extent that people will go to defend it, to defend the negative thoughts that they have in their head. There's a gentleman named Jim Quick who is an expert on learning and memory, and he has a quote that I just love. He says, if you defend your limiting beliefs, you will keep them. Okay. It is your ego that is defending all of your limiting beliefs. My parents conditioned me to think that my best option for life was to get a safe government job. My ego learned that a government job was my ceiling, right? Like that's what I thought. I thought, okay, well, I'll go to school, I'll get a government job and it'll be good. But thank God I pushed my ego aside and made more money my second year out of college by following my plan, not my ego's plan, but following my intuition that brought me to something that brought me both more joy and income for what I was doing. My grandparents lived through the Depression, and they conditioned my parents, who were raised before TVs were even in every house. Is it possible that their advice to me, based on their experience, could have caused more harm than good? As we speak, AI is taking over the world. I think we would be doing our kids a better service by teaching them how to make great decisions than by telling them to play it safe. Let's teach our kids how to be winners. Let's teach them how to use their intuition to make the good decisions that will guide them throughout their life. So, here are some tips on making good decisions. The first one should be no surprise because I say always start with your intuition. I offer whole presentations on using intuition, but I'll give you a couple brief tips to get started. So, intuition, again, is the practice of using your subconscious mind to process information quickly. Sit still, close your eyes, take some deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. ask yourself the question that you need help with and pay attention to what happens. If the answers come at you like, who do you think you are asking for a promotion? You don't even have a degree. That's your ego talking. Okay. You'll recognize it by its limiting nature. It's preying on the years of conditioning that you've received telling you to stay in your lane. You're not like successful people. Simply tell your ego, I'll get back to you later. I'm trying to solve my own problems right now. So just push it aside. Take a few more deep breaths. Ask again. Once you quiet your mind, your intuition will be able to work its magic. It will remind you that you have more and better skills than Billy, Susie, and Johnny. Yet you're all making the same amount of money. You're also more reliable, and your coworkers respect you and value your opinions more than they do those other people. Making the decision to ask for a promotion now is much less pain than not asking for that decision because you just convinced yourself that job's mine, right? Think about what that change in philosophy can do for your life. Now, when you're on the track of trying to figure out how do I make a good decision? One of the things is gather information. Make informed decisions by researching and understand all options. And this phrase, I use it a lot. Be serious, not curious, when it's time to make a big decision. So if you want to buy a car, do you want to walk onto a car lot without being serious about buying a car? Do you want to not do your research? And there's really no excuse today with the internet, with YouTube, with every learning tool that you have available that you should, in autotrader.com, cars.com, will tell you the prices of cars, right? So you should be armed with this knowledge because it has completely leveled the playing field in our favor as consumers. So would you be better off walking into a car dealership with no information and then ending up being, you're going to be like thrown to the sharks. These car dealers are very, very good at what they do, and they're going to be very, very good at convincing you to do something that you don't want to do. Okay. So if you study the market and know that the car that you want, let's say it's a used car, right? You can go in and tell that car dealership, oh, okay, I see that you guys are priced at $35,000 for this car, and this has 29,000 miles on it. And I get that. You have the right to ask for whatever you'd like for that car. But I happen to know that there are 3 cars within a 25-mile radius here that all have fewer miles and have more options, and their prices are lower. So I really appreciate what you're proposing to me, but I'm just not really ready for you today. Right. So what does that do to that? Who takes the control over that situation? You or the car salesman? Right. So always be serious, not curious when it comes time to make a big decision. Set clear goals too. What do you want to achieve to guide your decision making process? Your intuition will help you answer that. Is this the right time to buy a car? Which car dealership should I go to? Your intuition, when you get the ego out of the way, will help you make those decisions for you. Weigh the pros and cons, consider the benefits and the drawbacks of every option before you put yourself into that spot to make that purchase. Always trust your intuition, not your limiting beliefs. Listen to your intuition, especially when facts are not clear. Okay. So let's say you're analyzing an investment decision. Ask yourself, is this too good to be true? Do I believe in this industry? Who is this company's competition? Do I trust the person who told me about this opportunity? And your intuition will just guide you to that yes, that no, that not yet. It will give you one of those 3 every single time. And the other thing you need to do is you need to take responsibility. You need to own your decisions and learn from any mistakes. It's impossible to live a mistake-free life. It's just that's ridiculous to even have that as a goal. In fact, we all have examples of wishing that something happened, but ended up being glad that it didn't. Right? Take your high school girlfriend or boyfriend, and I bet you can still feel that searing pain of your first breakup, right? But aren't you really glad you didn't marry that person, right? Your life would have been a disaster. So that's a pretty good example. Is it worse to make a decision and be wrong, or to not make a decision and stay stuck in the same crummy life that you're trying to escape? Your intuition will help you make the correct decisions, even if it tells you something that you don't want to hear. I have a friend who desperately wanted to buy a house that she toured on a lake. It was a beautiful house. It was in her price range, and it was a short commute to her office, and everything lined up. But she heard a voice screaming inside her head saying, "No, don't do it. Do not do it. Do not do it." Every cell in her body wanted to buy that house, but she listened to the voice. 3 months later, she saw on the news that that house was struck by lightning and burned to the ground. Good thing she listened, right? Okay. So now we kind of know a little bit of the framework on how to make a decision, but it's important to understand the huge benefits to being a fast decision maker. It saves time, it reduces stress. Not making decisions wastes tons of time and encourages complacency. People come to me all the time because they are stuck. And every time that they are stuck, it's because they have the inability to make a decision to change. Okay. So, what that does, not making a decision does, is just develops a self hatred, and it perpetuates limiting beliefs that live inside you. And we want to shut that ego up, get to the pure source that is your intuition, and ask that to help you make those decisions. Making fast decisions is going to increase productivity and efficiency. Imagine how much more you could accomplish if you aren't struggling on making the same decisions year after year. Oh boy, should we put that addition on the house? Should we build that deck? Should we get new windows? By not making that decision, do you think any of those things are getting cheaper by the next year? No, never. It just doesn't happen. It's not the way life works. So, making a quick decision can help you build confidence and decisiveness. When you trust your intuition to help with your decisions, you're always going to make the right decisions, and you'll learn to be fearless, and you'll be able to seize opportunities quickly. Being able to make quick decisions also leads to faster progress and achievement of goals. I went to a seminar on mutual funds when I was 25, and I was fascinated. I mean, I'm watching these charts go up. It's like, hey, how much money can I make in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? And I was like all in, right? I'm like, okay, I want to start investing in mutual funds after this conference. And at 25, I was actually making pretty good money. I had extra money at 25, but my ego wanted a snowmobile and thought that I needed a new car. So that was where my money went. Now, I can only imagine what I'd be worth today if I started investing and making the stock market my hobby at age 25. I mean, it's something that I'll regret forever because I had the knowledge at that time and I knew what I needed to do and I chose not to do it. And we've all got decisions in our life that are like that. Making quick decisions will also reduce the overthinking and the anxiety. And overthinking is simply an endless loop of ego based thought telling you that you need to stay the same because it's safe there. And anxiety is simply taking the possibility, the remote possibility of future problems and pulling them forward so that you can spend all of your thought and energy trying to avoid problems that probably never would have even existed in the first place. And wouldn't we all be happier if we were able to avoid the overthinking and the anxiety? It's much better to have a proactive approach to life. We'd all be happier if we controlled our life rather than having it control us. There can be great harm in failing to make a decision. It could lead to missed opportunities or stagnation. People get stuck in a mindset of, I don't want to lose, instead of having a mindset that I want to win. It might result in others making decisions for you. And those decisions may not align with your goals, wants, needs, or dreams, right? I believe one of the keys to a happy life is options. If you can't recognize and act on opportunities that will set you up for a better life, you will have fewer options and less peace, joy, passion, and prosperity in your life. Please head to the Recalibrated Mind Facebook page. Let me know of an example of a time that you listened to your intuition and it helped, or list a time that you failed to make a decision and came to regret it. I end all my shows with examples of a time that music has helped me or a guest get through a tough time in our life, or a suggestion of an underrated artist that we think other people should know about. My suggestion for you today is to look up Steven Wilson Jr. live at the print shop. I look for it on YouTube because seeing him is every bit as important as listening to this guy. He's got a couple songs that I want you to check out. Listen to My Father's Son, I'm a Song, or he does a version of Stand By Me that is unlike anything that you've ever heard before, and it'll probably send chills up your spine. I hope that you'll be as blown away by him as I was. So thank you so much for listening. Please follow the Recalibrated Mind podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok so you will always be able to find a little bit of peace, joy, passion, and prosperity in your life.